All right, so that's my brother. Let's see why the heck would you want to create an array? Why don't you just create individual variables? Here's why. Watch this. So this is how you should be setting stuff up. Class. We'll say traverse arrays, because that's what I'm showing you how to do. And then end class. I don't know if I'm spelling that right. I don't care though. All right, let's see. Suppose I want to have an array of integers, because I haven't made that yet, and I'll show you how to do it. So int, I'm going to create an int array, and I'm going to call it numbers, or nums. Again, well, numbers. Numbers. And then what size do I want to create? What size do I want to make it? Let's do size 10. Size 11, actually. Size 11. So we'll say new int, and I want it to be 11. I want it to hold 11 things. And I'm going to say I changed my mind. 10 things. 10 things. I'll print out the numbers 0 through 10. So let's see what happens. So if I want to, well, I'll create a for loop. This is important also. I want to show you how I create for loops so that nothing gets, like all the indentation is perfect and it doesn't get confusing later on when I'm trying to read your stuff. So I do for, and then before I even put anything in it, I just create the format, and then end for loop. So already I haven't created any conditions or anything to actually be executed, but I have the correct format. It's already indented for me. Everything's nice. So let's create my conditions. I'll say int, call it index, and maybe I'll call it I for index. That's it's shorter. And then I'll start it out at 0. And then semicolon, and then some condition. So first it's where do I want to start? Then it's condition, and like the condition that you want to keep running, and then incrementation. So the condition while int, I is less than, we'll say, I want it to go all the way, we'll say less than 10, we'll see. Because it starts at 0, so it would be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 10 indices, so we'll keep it like that, semicolon, I plus plus. This is actually very standard using I. Usually count would be good. Count is more descriptive, but this is an index for the array, so I'm going to leave it as index, or I. Maybe I'll change it to index, just to be more explicit. Because it's going to be the index of the array, and I'll show you what I mean. So, instead of actually putting in things to the array individually, I can just say, well, numbers and in the index position, whatever that is, index gets, we'll say, so it starts out at 0. So the first thing would be numbers 0. In the 0th position of the array, I can put something in there. And I want to put the number 1, but I also want to put in number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way, all those numbers. I want to put those in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say index plus 1. So the first time this goes through, index is 0. So we're looking in the 0th position, and we're putting in 0 plus 1. So inside the 0th position, we get the number 1. And then we increment index, and then run it again, and then that would be numbers 1. So that's the index number 1, which is the second position for the array, the second little box. And we're putting in, well, that would be 1 plus 1 is 2. So really, I'm just putting in all of these numbers to into each of these positions for the array. So what I'm going to do is outside of it, after I fill the array, this actually fills all of the positions of the array, right? Because it goes from 0 to 9, remember that. And index is only going from 0 to 9. It's never getting to 10. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say system, maybe I'll space that out a little bit. system dot out dot println. And let's see, what do I want to print? Let's print the, let's say, this is what is in, we'll say, numbers 5. So what should be in numbers 5? Well, it's the index, which will be 5 plus 1. So this should print out 6. Well, I mean, not yet, but we'll see it. And I'm going to add numbers 5. So this should be the number 6, because really I'm going to that position, that 5th index, which is the 6th position in the array. Remember, you start counting at 0. So I'll go to that index of 5, and what do I put in 5? Index 5. I put 5 plus 1. I put 6. So this should be 6. Let's compile that and see. So it should print out whatever, well, you'll see. This is what is in number 5, 6. Hopefully that's like amazing to you. Like, oh, that makes sense. I filled it all just with a for loop. And then I can actually print them all. So let's comment this out inside that loop. So really, I filled them all using this for loop and this line. And then if I want to print them all in the same loop, system.out.println, and then we'll just say numbers. And how do I print them all out? Well, I just say index. Because that first time it'll run, what will happen? What will be printed out? Well, I put in 0 plus 1. So the first time this will say numbers 0, and in the 0th position for the 0 index, I'm going to print out 1. So watch what happens. And then it'll run through and it'll print out all of these. But this thing, this index, that's going to be the thing that's changing with my for loop. So I compiled, close, let's run. 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to 10. So that's why arrays are useful, because you can put a bunch of stuff in it all at once, and then you can individually print them out if you wanted to. Or you can print them out systematically, like we did here. So that's how you traverse an array, and that's also how you create an int array. You can also create, well, I'll show that for our next video. You can put stuff in an array in a different way as well, but I'll show that in the next one.